what the world is facing at this time, and we have to strengthen the institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce uh, our, I will not say the guest speaker because uh, they are a speaker of humanities. They are a speaker of human rights. Ambassador His Excellency Dr. Hassan Bousayyed is a senior advisor, special representative envoy to the United Nations at Geneva of the International Human Rights Commission, sitting in a very difficult country of the Middle East, Lebanon, fighting for the people's and democracy institution in Lebanon, and also fighting the criminals, those who are using and misusing the name of human rights everywhere. Ambassador Dr. Hassan Bousayyed, floor is yours now.
Thank you, Chairman. My regards to all my colleagues. There is no doubt that globalization, despite its positive and negative two slits, which I believe briefly review, came to meet the natural needs first of the emerging and accelerating reality, where technology was and is still improving their conditions and placing the use factor within. The use factor guaranteed the arrival of use energies, and the entire community benefited from. Sorry. The following are the most important advantages that have been achieved as a result of globalization on the economic side in terms of 1, achieving greater benefits for producers and consumers due to division of labor and expansion of markets. 2, raise the level of individuals' income, especially in countries that can expand economically faster. 3, freedom of movement of the workforce between different countries, which helps to exchange ideas and skills. 4, contribution to bridging the economic deficit of some countries by allowing it to borrow money from the capital market. 5, consumers' awareness of the challenges arising from some global issues such as climate change and wage inequality increase. 6, contribution of the competitive pressures, more goods, thus raising the quality of their product using the least available resources, which contributes to economic growth, reducing the cost of for those with limited income. 8, business expansion as the largest markets provide the opportunity for companies to reach a larger segment of customers, thus increasing revenue. There is 3 issues in this matter. The first one is the political side, where globalization has strengthened the spread of democracy and increased awareness of human rights. Despite the huge technological gaps, globalization has played an important role in democratizing the media through social media networks, which encourage the promotion of political openness, the elimination of corruption and the abuse of power, and improving political representation. The second point is the social and cultural aspect, where globalization has strengthened societal justice on an international scale, in addition to its contribution to focusing the world's attention on the issue of human rights. On the cultural level, globalization has had great merit in developing cognitive and cultural communication networks and has led to the development of lifestyle and consumer behaviors of individuals. Cultural globalization has a positive impact on media coverage, and that is to focus people's attention towards the tragedy of individual in light of a huge population increase. Also, globalization has contributed to global media liberalization, thus it became more objective and away from fanatism and prejudice, strengthened the spirit of belonging to the surrounding community, encouraged the development and exchange of the level of arts, and contribute to increasing individuals' awareness about the nature of consumed goods and the conditions of their production, as well as making intercultural dialogue a basic need to achieve international solidarity. Globalization also has contributed to the spread of technology and innovation by encouraging continuous communication between countries, which means that the technological developments and knowledge are exchanged faster between them. Now, I will go to the disadvantage of the globalization, which is considered of 8 points. The first one is creating a burden on the human resources staff in searching for the best job candidates from different countries and the dealing with time, cultural, and linguistic differences. 2, difficulty in monitoring employee immigration affairs and securing entry visas for foreign employees. 3, increasing the cost of selling products in foreign countries. This is due to the imposition of customs duty and export duties. 4, difficulties in managing employee salaries and monitoring their compliance with instructions law related to the employment and tax regulation due to the municipality of market. 5, loss of cultural identity due to the ease of movement between countries, and it has become easy to integrate with the cultures of other societies and try to imitate other more successful cultures, which strengthen the distinctive features of the indigenous culture and the loss of global culture diversity. 6, exploiting foreign labor where intense competition between companies pushes to offer low-cost goods to gain the largest number of customers at the expense of finding expatriate workers and lower costs and exploiting the energy. 7, difficulties in expanding companies globally as they require a large capital in addition to high flexibility and the ability to keep pace with changing labor laws specific to each country. The risk of losing local jobs, given that some companies prefer expatriate workers or move their field of work outside the states. And concentration of power and wealth in the hands of a specific class of large companies, which in turn eliminated their competitors from smaller companies around the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. I hope this is this is the one kind of our suggestions which will go to the international community for reacclaim the passage which we are leaving behind the peoples in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, now the floor I am giving to the person. She is international government advisor, senior advisor on a presidential and ministerial level. She is a political strategic, peace activist, political activist, international NGOs representative, media consultant, businesswoman, and she is sitting in UK. And now the floor is with our most dearest Honorable Miss Shani Hamid. The floor
Thank
is
you.
yours, Madam.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, dear honorable ambassadors. And I'm part of the family. This is how I see myself. And thank you very much to all participants for your invaluable speeches. I had the pleasure to listen to you all. Thank you. Now, what I would like to point is towards the solution. So, as we are all gathered today to ensure a better tomorrow for our future generations, we demonstrate an agreement that certain improvements will happen with some certain changes in our lives. Consequently, we are all working towards the progress we must also keep in mind that universal human rights application has to be the norm of every practice, which applies to rights to education as well. Since education is a basic human right for all, it becomes a crucial application to put into effect for everyone, so all could achieve the most in life. That being said, before the COVID-19 pandemic, UNICEF noted that over 1 billion children around the world used to head to class on any given school day. And according to UNESCO's estimate last year, due to COVID-19 pandemic, 185 countries have closed schools nationwide, consequently impacting 1.5 million children and youth education around the world. Alas, besides these figures on educational disruption, before the COVID-19 pandemic, nearly 300 million children around the world had no access to education anyway. And now this number is far bigger, of course, because of the COVID-19. Furthermore, despite the compulsory education for children being implemented by many countries around the world, lack of trained teachers, poor training and learning materials, fleeting classes, faulty sanitation means make learning very difficult to children. Basically, the routine of the reality before the COVID-19 crisis, then the additional challenges arriving with the pandemic made everyone to realize that our old programs, routines, and habits, including the educational process we follow, is not sustainable anymore. This is why it is vital to rebuild our lives. And we urgently need to introduce stronger structures, as well as improved arrangements with taking education amongst primary topics. Simultaneously, brand new human rights lessons should take their compulsory place in every primary and secondary school's curriculum as well. These lessons should be provided to families, carers, and to all other organizations, establishments that interacting with children. Of course, this particular compulsory implementation on human rights lessons to children will require new planning with more basic explanations, just enough to provide them the first glimpse of liberty. These will be structured with national and international experts' input. Thus, will be applied with strong dedication, solidarity, strong controls, as well as determination and collaboration. Fortunately, given the current digital technology, many communication channels, such as smartphones, tablets, computers, media, games, puzzles, art, and all the other interactions will make planned education process much easier. This simple reality is we also need to focus on climate and all other environmental issues, digital equality and cybersecurity, weapons of mass destruction, economic well-being, immigration, social coherence and equality, and all the other aspects which require sustainable development progress for a healthy population. Besides, the actuality is all these points are interconnected. In fact, the backbone of this connection is, for sure, the education, as well as the implemented teachings about human rights. Here, I would like to remind everyone, it is time to adopt new and better, sustainable development strategies, which are compatible with the after-COVID rebuilding plans. because exactly at this point, we have a massive opportunity to rebuild our lives and to restructure the future for our children. If we just collaborate, if we show determination, I'm sure we will achieve this. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Madam Shani Hamid. Always you are putting the word on suggestions, recommendations. And this is a good, there is someone who is giving a light of a hope, a solution to the world and humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, now I will move towards a very dearest uh, human rights activist, youth ambassador. He's a medical doctor, served in a pandemic, taste the pandemic outcomes, and still standing on his own feet. Before I am giving him a floor, I have a message of the uh, 18th Prime Minister of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. He's he's a candidate of the Senate of Pakistan, which election is going to be held in this week, in coming week. So he is making his lobby to be a senator as well. So he sent me a message that please do apologize on my behalf to all of the participants and my colleagues across the world. I am sending you my video speech. You can share with them my thoughts and send me their videos for their thoughts. And definitely the later on my team will share it on the social media and to you as well. And this is what I got it his message on my WhatsApp. I want to say one more sentence before I am inviting the next speaker. My dearest friend, brother, a businessman, philanthropist, international promoter, Danish Mushtaq is also among us. He will speak later on, but I want to welcome him on behalf of the International Human Rights Commission because he always stand with us in Pakistan. Thank you very much, Danish, to be here. Dr. Njomogana Lokuman Ekam from Cameroon, one of the divested and more critical country of the Africa. Welcome to the show, and floor is yours.
Thank you, Honorable Ambassador and the Chairman of the International Human Rights Commission. I would like to thank everybody, and I am pleased, I am honored to be there with all of you, but I would like to speak in French because I better dominate that language. I hope it's not a
we have
problem.
No problem. We have no problem until we have your translation to put on your video for when it will be distributed to the all participants.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Ambassadeur Dr. Mohamed Amin Khan, président mondial de la Commission internationale des droits de l'homme et modérateur de cet événement. Mesdames, Messieurs, Mesdemoiselles, Leur Excellence Président, Ministre et Honorable ambassadeur de la paix. je prends la parole devant vous avec une ambivalence émotionnelle pour vous exprimer ma joie d'abord d'être parmi vous aujourd'hui, mais aussi mon triste constat désolant par rapport au système de santé des pays en voie de développement, aussi connus comme des pays pauvres. Excellence président et ministre, honorable ambassadeur, c'est très triste de constater que systèmes de santé les plus développés soient les pays africains et asiatiques, lorsque particulièrement l'Afrique est le réservoir de plusieurs minéraux les plus recherchés du monde. Je ne vais pas m'attarder sur l'effet de la pauvreté causée par la colonisation, la surexploitation des terres africaines sur l'immigration, l'éducation, la paix ou encore le développement durable, mais plutôt sur son effet sur la santé des peuples africains. En effet, il est dit que les pays africains subsahariens vivent en dessous du seuil de la pauvreté, en grande majorité. C'est dit que certaines Africaines vivent en dessous de 3 $ par jour. Vous pouvez imaginer qu'un être humain vive en dessous de 3 $. 3 $, c'est vraiment triste. Si une population dont la richesse du sous-sol n'est plus à démontrer ne peut pas consommer 3 $ par jour, comment pouvons-nous attendre que celle-ci puisse prendre soin de sa santé? C'est quasiment impossible. C'est donc dire les populations qui n'arrivent même pas à consommer la nourriture vivent, puissent aller se soigner dans des hôpitaux qui sont généralement des hôpitaux privés, et même quand ce sont des hôpitaux de l'État, ces hôpitaux sont mal gérés en général. C'est vraiment effrayant de constater que, par exemple, au Niger, on a plus de 150 pour 1000 enfants de moins de 5 ans qui meurent chaque année. C'est très élevé. Et par exemple, dans mon pays, 90 000 enfants pour 1000 nouveaux-nés. Voilà, ça c'est le taux de mortalité qu'on peut constater dans les pays africains. En effet, c'est un problème de système de santé. Parce que le système de santé africain est presque contrôlé, est presque dominé par les multinationales. Plus d'hôpitaux privés que d'hôpitaux publics. Il n'y a pas de couverture de santé. Il n'y a pas de sécurité. Une population dont la pauvreté est tellement élevée n'ait pas accès à la santé, qui est d'ailleurs la chose la plus importante pour chaque individu. Je vais vous parler, par exemple, de mon pays. Mon pays a en fait un système de santé où l'État a ses hôpitaux et le privé a aussi ses hôpitaux. Mais le manque de personnel de santé fait en sorte que certaines populations du pays n'aient pas accès à la santé. Et ceux qui en ont même des hôpitaux privés ne peuvent pas payer ne serait-ce qu'une consultation ou alors un examen complémentaire. Cela, avec le seuil de pauvreté, ça fait en sorte que des milliers de personnes, des milliers de Camerounais, des milliers d'Africains meurent chaque année. Mesdames, Mesdemoiselles, Messieurs, il est temps que les dirigeants du monde et principalement des pays appelés en voie de développement, c'est-à-dire africains, mon pays par exemple, prennent conscience du pire qui nous attend. Avec la venue de la COVID-19, où d'aucuns considèrent que l'Afrique a échappé du pire, nous notons aussi beaucoup de manquements. Alors que ce n'est pas totalement le problème de financement. Des gros budgets sont alloués, mais nos pays sont restés désormais comme dans presque tous les domaines. Quand on parle de la santé, l'Afrique est derrière. Quand on parle du développement, l'Afrique est derrière. Lorsqu'on parle de droits de l'homme, l'Afrique est derrière. Lorsqu'on parle d'immigration, l'Afrique est devant, c'est-à-dire la pire des choses. L'Afrique, tous les Africains aimeraient sortir et aller en Europe. Voilà, c'est un peu ce que nous vivons. Pour accompagner le gouvernement de notre pays, chère Excellence, ministre, président, ambassadeur, pour améliorer le système de santé, nous nous organisons en association pour contribuer plus sur l'éducation sanitaire. Je dis bien l'éducation sanitaire parce que beaucoup de personnes ignorent sur leurs problèmes de santé. Et lorsque vous ignorez vos problèmes, vous ne pouvez pas vous protéger contre les problèmes. La sensibilisation, c'est-à-dire nos organisations aussi, vont travailler sur la sensibilisation et les prises en charge pour des personnes les plus démunies et leur suivi. C'est une occasion pour moi de vous soumettre notre doléance d'accompagnement et de solidarité en espérant compter sur vos différents appuis de toute nature. Car je pense que pour développer, il faut commencer quelque part. Nous avons décidé de commencer par la communauté qui nous a vu naître, car il reste plus facile pour nous de maîtriser notre histoire, notre culture, qui sont importants pour le développement durable. Honorable Monsieur le modérateur, chers speakers de cette assise, chers invités, je vous souhaite une excellente journée et année, tout en vous invitant de respecter les règles d'hygiène, de protection, car ce n'est qu'ainsi que nous allons combattre le coronavirus et tout. Je vous remercie. Thank you, Ambassador.
You are welcome. You are most welcome, Dr. Najam. You are very much vocal, and you are the one, those who were the part of the World Youth Summit for Peace organization, and we as a our sister organization, I am always proud of you that you had always advocated for the youth empowerment and development. Thank you very much for your words. And now I am giving the floor to one more dynamic person. And she is a young leader of Women Deliver. She is a Zambian ambassador for non-profit Women Entrepreneur Initiative Zambia. Let us welcome a very young, energetic advocate, Paula. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Good evening to the participants. It's such an honor to be on this platform and to listen to the various speakers on the very important topics that they are speaking on. My speech today is on youth empowerment, as I think as we would all like to believe, youth empowerment is cardinal in our antics to ensure that the world gets to a certain place, that we get to a stage where we're able to tackle certain issues. Allow me to begin by thanking the International Human Rights Commission, the International Human Rights Commission Relief Fund, Trust, and the World Youth Summit for Peace Organization for this opportunity to speak on youth empowerment. What comes to your mind when you hear youth empowerment? The general definition of youth empowerment is a process where children and young people are encouraged to take charge of their lives. I would like to note that it is encouraging to see many organizations not only speak about empowering youth, but doing something about it. As you can see from the speaker lineup of this conference, we have several youths from different backgrounds who have been given a platform to speak, and that is very commendable. According to the United Nations estimates of the world's population, in 2019, youth numbered 1.2 billion persons between ages 15 and 24 years, or around 1 in every 6 persons worldwide. Central and Southern Asia were home to the largest number of youths, followed by Eastern and Southeastern Asia, and then Sub-Saharan Africa. In Africa, the population as a whole is very young, with 60% of the entire continent aged below 25 years, making it the youngest continent in the world in relation to its population makeup. With these figures, we can safely say the state of the world now and in a few years would depend on the youths. This shows that youth empowerment is extremely cardinal to the existence of our world. With the target date of the Sustainable Development Goals drawing near, the dedication to engage and empower youth to achieve these goals cannot be overemphasized. Empowering youth means giving them the responsibility of power, the responsibility to lead, as well as the responsibility to effect change. There are 6 interdependent dimensions of youth empowerment. These are psychological, community, organizational, economic, social, and cultural. Psychological empowerment has to do with the beliefs about oneself and enhancing individual consciousness. Community empowerment deals with having the necessary tools and resources to take initiative and provide solutions for a community's problems. Organizational empowerment deals with creating structures that aim to protect and promote the needs of the people. Economic empowerment has to do with teaching life skills and providing income security. Social empowerment has to do with societal inclusion and creating a strong support network. Cultural empowerment has to do with creating cultures that are inclusive and fair for all. Here are some of the ways that you can empower youth. Number 1, create platforms for youth to speak out. In my country, Zambia, we have a proverb that says, "Amano yafuma muifwesa yaya mchulo." This simply means that knowledge or wisdom can come from a young person. Number 2, purposefully include youth in leadership positions and decision-making processes. Number 3, create practical programs that train youth. Number 4, provide youth with necessary information and resources. And number 5, support and highlight success stories of young people. Aya Shevi, Malala Yousafzai, Greta Thunberg, Isra Hesse, and many more are examples of youth driving positive change in the world. The Greek philosopher Diogenes Laertius said, "The foundation of every state is the education of its youth." What will you do to empower youths so that the world is reshaped? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paula. You were according to my expectations, and I appreciate. I appreciate your active participation for the youth empowerment. Today, we need it, and we need it very badly that the youth should be empowered, a driving force, leading force, so that the 50% of the world crisis will be decreased automatically. Because today, if we are looking at the climate change advocacy, there is a youth. If we are looking about the women empowerment, there is a youth. If we are looking at violence against women, there is a youth. Youth is an instrumental, and that instrument we should not destroy for the sake of our coming generation and for the sake of a better future for this world. Thank you for your contribution. and I will continue to disturb and bother you to represent the African young generation on every platform. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's a time. Africa is a big continent after Asia, so that Africa is getting much more representation uh, in the International Human Rights Commission and elsewhere as well. If we are seeing the United Nations everywhere, the African and Asian youth and representation is a very instrumental. Let me introduce a very young, energetic a diplomat, a very young, energetic uh, businessman making an history. He is my special advisor for Middle East crisis as well, and he is the ambassador to the South Africa of the International Human Rights Commission. His Excellency Ambassador Vidya Sharma, floor is yours.
Good evening, Chairman. Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm gonna start with my speech. Excellencies and worthy Chair of International Human Rights Commission, it is my privilege to address the World Summit as International Human Rights Commission Ambassador to South Africa and African Union. We are in the middle of the most serious public health emergency our world has experienced in over 100 years. Containing the coronavirus pandemic has developed all other issues facing the international community and individual countries. The pandemic has profound social, political, economic, and security implications for us all. It is impacting on human health, our society, and our system of governance. Also, the coronavirus pandemic has affected both developed and developing economies. It is the poor who will suffer most. The pandemic has highlighted the dangerous and growing inequalities that exist both between countries and within them. Healthcare systems are struggling to cope. Some have been weakened by underfunding and neglect. Others are under pressure because they were designed to serve the select few. The pandemic has devastated the livelihood of millions of people. The virus will continue to be with us for some time, and we will have to change the way we behave, work, and live. The global recovery depends on our ability to accept this reality, to prepare for them, and to adopt accordingly. The social distancing, hygiene, and other protocols recommended by the World Health Organization must become part of our everyday life. South Africa affirmed its full support to the World Health Organization, which has been key in guiding the international response to the pandemic. The WHO has been instrumental in providing guidance and support to African governments with early detection of the pandemic, training, health worker surveillance in communities. The African continent is extremely exposed to the ravage of this virus and needs every possible support and assistance, including much needed resources to bolster its response and offset of potentially devastating social and economic fallout. The African Union has taken very deliberate steps to respond to the scourge, but the help of the international community is required to save the life of our people. The African Union has developed the comprehensive COVID-19 strategy, established an African Union COVID-19 response fund, and embarked on fundraising drive to strengthen the Africa Center of Disease Control and Prevention. The African Union has made a call for developing countries to be assisted in their effort to combat the pandemic and to rebuild their economies. This assistance needs to include debt relief, more special drawing right allocation with the international financial institution, and the provision of comprehensive and robust stimulus package to vulnerable countries. To turn back the frontier of the pandemic, we also need deepen international collaboration around research and development and investment in essential medical technology. In COVID-19 diagnosis and vaccine, we at International Human Rights Commission in South Africa fully supporting the action taken by the WHO together with many government, non-profit organization and industry leaders to speed up the development and production of vaccine and material and medical treatment, and to ensure that they were distributed quickly and equally across the globe. For its part, South Africa is participating in several research with continental and international partners, including the global effort to develop, manufacture, and distribute COVID-19 vaccine. We must ensure that there is equitable access to medical equipment, technology, and best practice to combat COVID-19. In this final decade toward the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goal, we must press ahead with our goal of making universal health care a reality for all the people of the world. The coronavirus pandemic has demonstrated the essential value of universal health coverage and should propel countries to act with great continue to work together to improve our emergency preparedness for potential future outbreaks of this nature and to develop. Let us continue to be bold and courageous in confronting this pandemic and bringing back normal life to our planet. Let us continue to cooperate solidarity. I thank you all to give me the chance to speak on behalf of the fellow Africans that believe in freedom, equality, and fraternity. God bless Africa. Msanzi, Aya Africa, Uku Musha, Ingizu Africa. Thank you very much. God bless Africa. God bless you, President.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. I hope the Africa as a vulnerable can pass on this difficult time, and we have to make the collective efforts that vaccine should be available for all, and economic recovery should be with the coordination and cooperation of the government should be carried on to the level of all aspects. Thank you very much for your contribution and your speech, and definitely we are proud on you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time that a few minutes I am giving to I made a discrimination here. I should accept this, that all the international participants, I didn't give a time to my own country representatives. Just now, a very dear to me, a very effective economist against the capitalism has joined, and I thank you, Grace, to be here. Just you have to be patient for 3 more minutes. And now the speaker, she is a professional model, actress, host, She been the first Miss Wheat, second Miss Wheat in Pakistan. She is Goodwill Ambassador of the International Human Rights Commission for Women Empowerment. I am inviting Aman Shaukat. Floor is yours.
In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Aman Shaukat from Pakistan. Dr. Muhammad Shai, first of all, I'm gonna thank you for letting me in. And it's so privileged and I'm so honored to be sharing this beautiful time with all these amazing leaders and speakers. Well, in life, there are moments when you stop and ask yourself why you are here. Well, I am here to be a voice for voiceless. Well, my first topic is education. Everyone should get higher education. A well-educated person is very good for his family and for the society as well. A well-educated person and uneducated person can never be the same. Well, there are very advantages of education. Education creates more employment opportunities. Education develops problem-solving skills. Education provides a happy life. Education creates modern society. Education helps you think positive. My second topic is women empowerment. Well, I believe in women empowerment because I'm a strong, independent woman. I have big dreams, big hopes, and I want to inspire other women from all over the world. Women should get higher education to find their higher self and be the best version of their self. So I want other women to please dream big, have a positive mindset towards life, stay happy, stay healthy, get physical and mental health, dream big, stop limiting yourself. You can make your dreams come reality. You can change the world with your dreams. Change your thoughts, believe in yourself. I hope together we can bring positive change in this world. So sending you all good vibes and thank you so much for having me here. I love you all. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, Aman. Thank you very much for your valuable time and valuable remarks. You people are a face of my country. I know Cecilia was saying that there is in Muslim countries those who are having a problem with the open hairs, but
Oh, I'm a
yes,
modern one.
of course, there are countries, of course, we have to admit the reality. There are countries, and even
Okay.
in our country, even in our country, very remote areas, there are this discrimination is going on, and we have to empower the women through the
Yeah,
education, through the motivation, that they should stand on their feet and they should represent themselves. This is what
yeah.
I always says, and this is for what I always stand for. Thank you very much,
Thank
Aman, and God bless you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, uh, I wanted to listen, uh, although for everyone is a very respectable form. Uh, Environmental activist, climate change activist, youth activist, women empowerment activist, business and economy economist, everyone, they are part and parcel of our societies. But I wanted to listen to the one and only Grace Blackley, the young economist, which is highlighting not only climate exchange and its effects on our world, but also what the imperialism is doing with the humanity. Grace, you are doing a great job. I had read your book, and hopefully the second book is in the way. Floor is yours.
so much, Ambassador. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak at this event. As you were just hearing, I'm going to talk a little bit about my book today, The Corona Crash, which is available in a number of languages, and hopefully will be available in more as well. But you can also get it in English from wherever you get your books.
You know,
So I'm
if
going to be
there
talking
is
a little bit
an
about.
sorry to interrupt you, if there is an end of
No, go ahead.
if there is an soon end of the pandemic or the airspace are open, I will invite you in Pakistan for the inaugural and book launching of your own book here.
I would love that. I would love to come to Pakistan. I think that would be absolutely amazing. Thank you for the invitation. Hopefully we'll be able to make that happen.
Go ahead. No.
Well, I just wanted to talk very briefly about basically the impact that the pandemic is likely to have on young people all around the world, because people in my generation, kind of millennials and younger, have experienced several decades of constant economic crises. And actually that's been more true for those living in the developing world, where crises have been even more frequent than they have in the global north. But most young people have been living through several decades of constant economic crises. And now the pandemic is reshaping the world of work before our eyes. So firstly, what we're likely to see is unemployment for young people is going to remain high for a while. And it's young people that's going to be most impacted by that. This is a real problem for young people because economists talk about this idea of scarring, the impact that a long period of unemployment has on your lifetime earnings. And basically, young people who don't find a job very quickly after they leave university often end up having these scars on their employment records that impact them for the rest of their lives. We also have a much bigger problem here, which is that more young people than ever, especially in the developed world, are getting a good education, but there aren't enough good jobs out there for most people. And this relates to a second challenge, which is actually being exacerbated by the pandemic, which is automation. And automation is really taking away lots of, formerly well-paid, secure jobs, and actually is leading to much higher levels of structural unemployment in economies all over the world and in the global economy. The International Labour Organization, for example, has said for many years that we are not creating enough jobs as a global economy for the size of the global workforce. That's only going to get worse as the pandemic increases, because lots of companies are using this as a moment to cut down on their workforces and replace those workers with automated machinery and various different kinds of technology. And lots of jobs that have recently been outsourced to the developing world to be performed by relatively cheaper labor are being reshored back into the rich world, only to be performed by new technologies and automating and kind of labor-saving technologies. So this problem of not creating enough jobs is going to be with us for a long time. And again, it will have a particular impact on young people. Thirdly, another issue that's become very, very important and prevalent during the pandemic has been the question of housing. And housing for young people is a really significant issue, because often as a result of looking for career opportunities, they're the ones that are most likely to be living in cities, and cities are where the housing crisis all over the world actually has become much, much more acute. So in the rich world, for example, you might try to rent a house and it will be, many, many times your annual income. Whereas in the developing world, you will be facing high rents, but also insecurity in your housing, potentially, very bad landlords, poor conditions, an inability to access basic amenities. All of these things make living much, much more difficult, and that is especially impacting young people as well. And actually, we're seeing, particularly in bigger cities, the interests of investors and developers are being placed way over and above the interests of tenants and homeowners when we're thinking about how to plan livable cities. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, we are living in the age of climate breakdown. And this is something that is obviously very clearly going to impact young people, because it is going to change the world before our very eyes, and because we are the ones that are most likely to be living with the consequences. But again, it's also going to be young people in the developing world who are going to be impacted much more by these trends, because climate change is already with many states in the global south. Island nations, low-lying nations, nations at risk of desertification all of these people around the world are experiencing the effects of climate change already, and we don't have the infrastructure at the level of the international economy to be able to deal with and tackle these problems. And that relates to a much bigger set of problems about how we need to redesign the international economy for an age in which all these problems have become so prevalent. One of the biggest challenges, again, that we're going to be seeing as we come out of this crisis is debt in the global south. We've seen the biggest outflow of capital from the developing world that has ever been recorded in history. And some states are already struggling to repay those debts, whether those are owed to, private creditors or to other states. And currently, there is no apparatus that exists at the level of the global economy to deal with states that are unable to pay their debts. And what we could end up seeing is what we saw after the financial crisis, where, as just one example, a country like Zambia, which was unable to pay its debts, had its debts bought up by a vulture fund, which then sued the government and extracted millions of pounds worth of returns from Zambian citizens. This is quite clearly not a sustainable way to manage the global economy, and international organizations like the IMF and the World Bank currently aren't really approaching the problem as seriously as they should be. If we're going to be able to tackle climate breakdown, if we're going to be able to rebuild the global economy after this crisis, then we're going to need some much bigger transfers from global north to global south, and we're going to need international organizations to step up and provide the funding that these states are going to need to recover and to tackle climate breakdown. One of the biggest challenges, I think, when we're thinking about all of these, different issues I've mentioned today, how they affect young people, is that, and I think, this is an issue that we see all around the world, the massive gap that exists between young people who are mobilizing and organizing and demanding big changes and our political leaders. Often there's a big gap between, the demands of young people and political leaders who tend to be much older. This is a big issue in the global north, certainly, because there is a much larger, older population. But it's also true in many parts of the global south. I mean, especially if you look at sub-Saharan Africa, countries like Uganda, where you have the youngest population in the world and a very, very old president who is, continuing to who's just won another election, despite that being marred by all sorts of irregularities. So all of these questions really come down to young people being able to kind of organize and mobilize and demand a different way of organizing society and our political systems, which is why I'm really happy to be here today to be talking with so many young people from all around the world about how we might tackle these challenges and work together to do so. So thank you very much, Ambassador. That's all from me.
Grace, you are always unique with the unique words. I love the way you counter the imperialism and its effects on humanity. And I was thinking that, like you, a person should be teaching the young generation what is the impacts of imperialism and this so-called richness, which is, the money is going on one hand, and the many are starving in the world. You are doing a lot of things, and I don't know whether your country accept or appreciate you or not in a political arena or in a business arena. But let me tell you, out of your country, in many countries, the youth like you are getting inspiration from you. And we are proud of you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. That's very kind. I really appreciate your kind words. Thank you.
God bless you. Now I have to move a little bit. Here in this whole arena, there is one small girl sitting from the last 4 hours, listening everybody. And she been having a first youngest debater into the World Youth Summit in 2016, and from that to onward, she is the youngest young youth ambassador Miss Aisha Shahid Khan. She is having 2 minutes to say whatever she wants to say to you, all of you. Aisha, floor is yours.
Thank you so much, my dearest father and excellencies. Thank you for giving me a chance to speak in this vast summit. And I just, as a woman, I will speak on women empowerment, which women is facing in this pandemic situations. So the COVID-19 pandemic is harming health, social, economic well-being worldwide, and with women at the center. So first and foremost, women are leading the health response, and women are make up almost 70% of the healthcare workforce, which is exposing them to the greater risk of infection than men. On the other hand, if we say that at the same time women are shouldering much of the burden at home, that is given schools and childcare facilities, careers, and long-standing gender inequalities in unpaid work. Women are also facing high risk of a job and as well as income loss. And women also facing increased risk of violence, exploitation, and abuse as well during the time of this pandemic and this economic losses and quarantine as well. So as we see, the women are also in the front line of who responder and or shoulder health cares, as well as not only health cares, but professional works, moreover volunteers, transport, and also logistic managers, scientists. And women also making a critical contribution to address the breakout every day. So the COVID-19 has caused tremendous destruction in the lives of many around the globe. As we see, women have been extraordinarily affected. So we can say that the biggest setback to gender equalities in a decade. So the long-term implication of these global crises in the to women's life, which will not be quite known for us, but now we are slowly learning it about the hardship confronting women as a result of the pandemic. During recent consultation of with our 75% of FIH, T60's Gender Equality and Social Inclusion GESI, champion and expert across 13 countries. Every single one confirmed that women project participants are bearing disproportionate burden of the pandemic. So this is especially or totally true for women with disabilities, including those who are older women, younger women, and especially, of course, those who live in the rural areas, bringing issues of gender equality and social inclusion, as well as women empowerment to the forefront. So in COVID-19 impact to women, we should carefully monitor and discuss it with across multiple demographic groups, as women is playing a key role in the healthcare response to the COVID-19. So this is what just I want to say as a woman, and just for women crisis and women empowerment, which women is facing the pandemic issues. And as well as I must say of my mother, she's also a working woman, which she just faced during these crises, that she did not go for a job just for their own children, just to care for just to care of us. She did not went to her office of her job. So women are facing a such big crisis, or infected, or just to care for their family. They are not going, or they are not going out for just because of their family care. So at the end, we just in the end, I just want to say that we should build our back better with economic crisis, with women empowerment, which is facing everywhere, not only in Pakistan, all over the world. And I just want to conclude my speech that that's not this business as usual. Let's make a business unusual response and make sure that outcomes work for everyone, men, women, and boys and girls. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you for to be a vocal for our women, especially to the girls. Let us to move towards.
1 minute, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry. I'm using the intervention. Mashallah, mashallah, like father, like daughter. What a wonderful first speech. Aisha Beta, I'm so proud of you. Keep it up. And you must participate. You must participate in more conferences and build your confidence. You have to fit yourself, your tiny shoe for feet, in big shoes of your daddy. So keep it up, mashallah. Proud of you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador.